psychics, such as the Dr. Nostradamus, were employed by the French monarchy. Nostradamus was a skilled scryer, staring endlessly into bowls of water until the reflected light was manipulated by spirits who foretold future events. Dr. Nostradamus wrote a book of prophecies called Centuries, which was published in 1555. He describes events from the mid-1500s through to the end of the world, which is predicted to come in the year 3797. Catherine de' Medici, Queen of France, asked him to plot the horoscopes of her husband, King Henry II. In 1560, King Charles IX of France appointed Nostradamus as his court physician. Nostradamus accurately predicted for the French Queen, Catherine de' Medici, the death of her own children and other information which was used to bolster the monarch's hold over the peasant population of France. Magicians and mediums who consult with spirits have always been employed by the royal elite. In medieval Britain, Dr. John Dee was consulted regularly by Queen Elizabeth I. At the British Museum in London, we see the dark mirror which John Dee used to see or scry the faces of spirits. Dee's ability to communicate with spirits led him to be employed as a spy, developing psychic espionage techniques, which we now call remote viewing. John Dee attended Trinity College in Cambridge, which became a place where occultists and the world of spies were intertwined. Aleister Crowley also attended Trinity College. In 1904, he wrote an introduction to an ancient book of spells called the Goetia. Soon after, Aleister Crowley followed the footsteps of John Dee and worked as a spy for Her Majesty's Secret Intelligence Service, MI5. In medieval Britain, anyone found communicating with spirits was in danger of being arrested by the many inquisitions organized by the Vatican. The costumes and wickedness of the Vatican's inquisitions would later be copied by the Ku Klux Klan in the United States, who used the so-called Earth Salute, which was originally devised by members of the Victorian secret society known as the Golden Dawn. Hitler would also use the same salute and drop millions of leaflets quoting the prophecies of Nostradamus across Europe during his attempt in the 1940s to create a global Nazi superstate. the Vatican has issued 3 papal bulls against Freemasonry and the magical rituals of the craft. Many Catholics have also expressed doubt over the Hebrew science of spirit communication known as the Kabbalah. However, disregarding the warnings of the Pope, medieval monarchs across Europe ignored Vatican law and employed the services of Kabbalists, astrologers, and magicians, whilst being protected from prosecution by their power and wealth. Dr. John Dee was secretly initiated into the secrets of the Kabbalah by Rabbi Lowe in the 1500s. The Kabbalah offers a route map which is called the Tree of Life. Discarnate spirits, some angelic, some evil, occupy each point on the Tree of Life. These spirits can be called forth and invoked to serve the magician. Medieval astrologers and Kabbalists such as John Dee were hired by monarchs to plan their wars, or to experiment with alchemy, trying to transform base metals into gold and thus increase the already spectacular wealth of the monarchy. When a British monarch is crowned, an elaborate ceremony takes place which resembles the ritual crowning of King Solomon of ancient Israel. King Solomon ruled over ancient Israel and had extensive knowledge of the Kabbalah, which he used to communicate with demons.
As King Solomon was anointed king, the priest known as Zadok, and the prophet known as Nathan, so thou be anointed, blessed and consecrated, queen over all the people.
King Solomon is the single most important figure in the occult teachings of world international Freemasonry. The ancient Goetia is a book of powerful invocations and spells written by King Solomon. These ancient spells and evocations were used to summon spirits who were then psychically tortured and forced to serve King Solomon. The Goetia contains descriptions of 72 demons, some of whom control their own army of lesser demons. King Solomon evoked and imprisoned these spirits in a bronze vessel sealed using magic symbols. The Goetia explains how the spirits can be compelled into obedience. The Goetia describes a demonic royal hierarchy of spirits, many of which are referred to as knights, princes, and kings. King Solomon ruled ancient Israel from the year 970 to 928 BC. Satanists, occultists, and Freemasons worldwide venerate the memory of King Solomon, who owned a magic ring engraved with a symbol called the Seal of Solomon. This gave him power over the invisible monarchy of demons. This Seal of Solomon is better known as the Star of David. It is this symbol which is encoded into the $1 bill. It is also the flag of Israel. This symbol, which was used to invoke and control Asmodeus, one of the senior spirit kings in the infernal monarchy of hell. Well, David Icke's book, The Biggest Secret, is one of my all-time favourite books. There is a section in there talking about a character called Pindar, who apparently is the boss of some of these satanic councils or satanic groups in America, and he also attends rituals in Europe. And according to some of the sources which David Icke used for his book, Pindar, this character, is otherwise known as the Marquis de Libu, or the Marquis of Libu. So there is a section in the book saying, you know, can you give us any more information? And David Icke requests the reader, you know, if you've got any information, then come forward. Now, a good friend of mine actually wrote a book called The Way of the Dragon, and it's an excellent book. It's all in French, and I have French grandparents, so it's quite easy for me to be able to research ancient French documents. Now, Libu was suggested to me by my friend as possibly being an anagram of the old French term, which is bilu or biliou. Now, bilu is a plural of the word Belial, and Belial means demon, and Biliou is an old French term for the plural, which is demons. So if Libu is an anagram of Bilu, and I believe it is. This man is attending the Satanic Councils. Apparently he arrives in a white Rolls Royce or some white limousine. And he calls himself the Marquis of Demons, or the Marquis of Demons. Now that's absolutely fascinating, because many of the 72 spirits which we see described in the Howling, the Book of Howling, otherwise known as the Goetia, it's also known as the Book of Shadows. Many of the 72 spirits there, you've got all these instructions of how to summon these spirits. Many of them are marquises. Many of them are dukes, presidents, kings. I would say probably around a quarter of them have a rank of marquis or equivalent to a marquis. And if you conjure these spirits using the information which you find in the Goetia and also in other medieval grimoires, you will see that in your mind's eye these spirits often appear riding dragons or griffins, or they hold serpents in their hands, and at your command they will take the form of a human being. At the magician's command they will take the form of a human. But if you look at the sketches which have been used to illustrate many different versions of the Goetia, you will see that many of these spirits are they have royal rank, like a marquis or an earl or a duke, king, and there is definitely reptilian symbology, and if you command the spirit to take on a human form, it will do, and it will shapeshift. So I think there's many parallels with my research into the medieval grimoires and the Goetia, which dates back probably to Sumeria and Babylon, and the research which is presented in The Bigger Secret, which is one of my all-time favourite books. Asmodeus, who often appears as a classic devil creature, can be found inside the church of Rennes-le-Château in the Languedoc region of southern France. This church was transformed into a Kabbalistic temple masquerading as an ordinary village church in the 1880s by Abbé Saunière, who discovered documents from King Solomon's temple stashed inside the altar. To this very day, the British coronation is a bastardized version of the actual coronation ritual of King Solomon. King Solomon and his magical temple are the central foundation stone of world international Freemasonry. The Masonic rituals are designed to invoke a magical atmosphere in the lodge. Millions of Freemasons meet every week at lodges all over the planet, all venerating and singing hymns to King Solomon and spirits. Since the Dark Ages, misguided, selfish individuals have joined various cults such as the OTO,